Okay, let's jump right in. Have you ever wondered where child prodigies get that undeniable genius? Or, why you might just have this deep natural talent for music or math that seemingly comes out of nowhere? Well, what if I told you that according to certain esoteric traditions, these aren't just random genetic lottery wins? They're actually hard won life lessons and skills carried across time by a permanent center deep within us. Today, we're diving into a fascinating psychological and philosophical framework that attempts to explain exactly how our deepest talents and experiences might be preserved and carried across multiple lifetimes. Welcome to this explainer on the mental body and past lives, architecture of the soul. We're about to unpack a really detailed, honestly kind of mind-blowing framework. It's heavily drawn from the esoteric and theosophical writings of Arthur E. Powell, published way back in 1927. Basically, it's a system that maps out the unseen anatomy of the mind. Here's our roadmap for the journey. First, the mental body vehicle. Then, the permanent mental unit. Third, the harvest of life. Next, the true ego. And finally, rebirth and new seeds. Section 1. The mental body vehicle. Let's figure out what the mental body actually is in this vast system before we get into the past lives stuff. Looking at this hierarchy of human consciousness, it's pretty wild. Right up at the very top, radiating all that light, you've got the monad, the ultimate spiritual source. Below that sits the ego and the causal body. And then projecting downward are the temporary vehicles. You've got the mental body, the astral body, and way at the bottom, the physical body. Our main focus for today? It's right there in the middle, the mental body. In this framework, the mind isn't just some abstract, floaty concept. The mental body is literally a vehicle of consciousness, made of a specific type of subtle matter. And its job? It deals specifically with concrete thoughts and particular forms. Think of it like this. Your higher causal body handles the abstract concept of, say, a triangle. But when you think about a specific physical wooden triangle sitting on your desk, that concrete everyday thought is processed directly by the mental body. Section 2. The permanent mental unit. If the mental body is just temporary, how does anything survive? Let's zoom in. Deep inside the mental body is what the sources call the mental unit. By definition, it's a single, indestructible molecule of the fourth mental subplane. But here's where it gets absolutely crucial. While the rest of your mental body eventually dissolves after physical death, this one single molecule is permanent. It acts as this incredibly stable center across thousands of years. It's literally designed to carry your most vital experiences and those hard-earned life lessons across many, many lifetimes. This tiny little molecule acts as the absolute heart and center of the mental body. The sources describe it as rotating rapidly on its axis, and it projects these distinct color bands that actually correspond to your types of thought. So you might have a yellow band for intellect, or maybe a really beautiful violet circle for aspirational thought. But its most important function? It acts like a spiritual hard drive. It records and preserves all your life experiences, not as literal video-like memories, but as what they call vibrating powers. Section 3. The harvest of life. This takes place in a realm the texts call Devachan. So what happens to that spiritual hard drive after we pass away? Our source text shares this really beautiful quote from an esoteric master about this exact stage. It says, "The ego collects only the nectar of moral qualities and consciousness from every terrestrial personality." I just love that imagery. It means when you transition to the mental plane, all those petty arguments, the selfish desires, the mundane worries of Earth, they're all left behind. The true self filters out all that noise and preserves only the absolute highest moral qualities, the literal nectar of your completed life. Let's look at how this builds into something practical. Powell uses a really relatable analogy here, digestion. Just like your physical body digests food to build actual muscle and tissue, the ego in Devachan digests the facts of your past experiences. It works them out, meditates over them, and slowly transmutes them into permanent mental and moral capacity. So it's meticulously preserving those vital life lessons directly for the true ego to use later. And this right here directly answers that question we asked at the very beginning of the explainer. According to this system, deep study in one life creates a vibrating power of innate aptitude and facility in your next incarnation. So if someone is born a mathematical or musical genius today, they didn't just get lucky with genetics. This framework claims their permanent mental unit digested lifetimes of intense, focused study and converted all that effort into the natural, innate talent they were just born with this time around. Section 4. The true ego.
We really need to distinguish between the temporary characters we play every day and the immortal architect behind them. Think of our two identities kind of like a tree. On one side, we have the personality. That's who you are right now, right? Going to work, living your daily life. It's like the leaves on the tree. It's temporary. It gathers experience for a season, and eventually it falls and perishes. But on the other side is the individuality, or the true ego. This is the immortal trunk of the tree. It withdraws the sap, those deeply digested experiences from the leaves, and it endures forever, flawlessly preserving your soul's entire journey.
To really anchor this concept, let's look at a quote from H.P. Blavatsky, who is a foundational figure in this philosophy. She states that the real human ego is the thinking entity imprisoned in a case of flesh and bones. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that the true ego, which resides safely up in the higher causal body, is an eternal actor. The life you are living right now, that's just the actor putting on a new garment to learn a specific vital lesson. Section 5. Rebirth and New Seeds. Okay, so once the nectar is digested, how exactly does our actor get their new costume for the next performance? The esoteric procedure of coming back to a physical life follows these really distinct, fascinating steps. Step 1, the ego turns its attention outward from the higher planes. Step 2, that tiny permanent mental unit we talked about earlier, it wakes up and resumes activity. Step 3, it acts as a literal magnet, drawing surrounding mental matter right to itself. And step 4, it forms a loose cloud of matter that will eventually crystallize to build the brand new mental body of the infant.
But what exactly is being magnetized into that cloud? The sources call these the skandhas, or the seeds of the past. The mental unit pulls in specific material qualities, sensations, abstract ideas, distinct behavioral tendencies, and mental powers. All that digested nectar from your heaven life is packed tightly into these seeds, ready to be deployed right into the new child. And this is perhaps the most striking detail from the sources. The new mental body is built to precisely match the exact type the person had at the end of their last life. There's no way around it. In this architecture of the soul, you do not lose your progress. You resume your mental life precisely where you left off. Those vibrating powers stored in your permanent mental unit act as the ultimate blueprint. They carry your experiences across lifetimes and bring your specific, hard-won capacities right into your new personality. So let's wrap this up with something to really chew on. If your current talents are the digested nectar of past lives, what seeds are you planting for your next? It completely reframes how you might look at the effort you put into learning something new today, doesn't it? You aren't just training your current brain. According to this explainer, you are writing the blueprint for your soul's next great adventure. Thanks so much for exploring the architecture of the mind with me today.